So what I'm going to pull up here is Modern Dealerships on Facebook, and we're going to check and see. Mark is saying that we're live right now.
Okay.
It says we're live on the air. We're live on the webs. There's Greg. What do we got? Oh, there we are.
Hey.
There we are. It's Matt. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Matt, and I don't think you understand what kind of knowledge you are going to get, because you're going to get it straight from the source when it comes to Generation Z. You told me you're 15?
Yes, sir.
So this is Matt. Matt, you're at NADA, man.
Yeah.
You're the National Auto Dealers Association. You don't sell cars.
I do not.
You go to school probably, right?
Yep.
What is interesting you, or what are you interested in school? Like, are you a school guy?
More or less, academics-wise, I prefer doing more electives. Like right now I'm doing auto shop, and I really like my auto shop class. And I'm also taking Chinese, which I really like. So
That's amazing. I was barely making it through social studies. What grade does that put you in at 15?
I'm freshman.
You're a freshman in high school. Is it high school there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's what freshman means. So.
Yeah.
And Matt, the reason I ask you about what you like in school, because I know that school is changing and more elective type information is being available. It's not just the core. You still have to do core, right?
Yeah.
So what I wanted to ask you today is I'm going to ask you some things about the future.
Okay.
And I'm going to put you in a position that one day you're going to have to buy a car.
Okay.
Okay? And we're going to talk about what would make you feel comfortable in buying a car. I don't know, have you gone through with your parents or anything to a dealership to buy a car? Have you even seen the process? You've seen the process?
Yes, sir.
All right. Has the process impressed you? Were you there for like 4 hours? Or different kind of situation?
Kind of a different situation. It was more of just me sitting waiting for my parents to sign papers.
Was it a long time?
Roughly about an hour or so.
So an hour or so. So, I mean, what we see on average, it takes about 3 hours for that whole process. Walking into the dealership, whether you went online, you would do that, wouldn't you? Is that how you'd pick out a car, do you think?
Probably.
Or would you go to a dealership and want to just walk through everything?
I would probably go online first and be looking through cars and be like, oh, I like this, then go to a dealership and see a physical of what it looks like.
So you look at that first. Let's say that you're 15, so you're going to be driving. Are you driving now?
Ish, yeah.
Do you have your own car yet?
I do.
You do have your own car sitting right now. Did you have any part of picking it out?
My dad basically just said, you're going to be driving soon, so look at cars you think you want to look at. So I just spent some time on the internet looking at different kind of cars and their different specs and whatnot.
So you got to kind of go look and see what you wanted to get. Now I will say this as a disclaimer, your dad used to sell cars.
Yes.
And your dad used to be really good at selling cars. Not saying that he's not good at it now, he just doesn't do that for a living, right? And were you a part of that world with your dad when he was working at a dealership selling cars? Did you go into the dealership at all, or were you kind of on the distance?
I was, a bit of both. I was, for the most part, on the distance, but then there was certain times I would just go in and hang around the office and do homework or whatever.
But you didn't really pay attention to what was going on? Okay. So my question is, or let's go down to this path of the car buying process for a 15-year-old, right?
Yeah.
You're not paying the money.
No.
Right? Did you have an allowance of what you could look for online, or was it your dad was just like, hey, the sky's the limit, or did you self-regulate yourself?
Well, what happened was he said if I get my Eagle Scout, I can get a car.
Are you a Boy Scout?
I am.
Brother. Troop 175. I was a senior patrol leader.
Ooh.
Yeah.
But anyways, he said if I got my Eagle Scout, I could get a car. And I was looking through just like different kinds, and he was like, okay, so you can get any car you want. So I'm like, okay, Mustangs. Are we going like that? And he's like, no. A lot smaller.
So you originally went Mustang in your head?
Well, I was like thinking like, big muscle car. I was just kind of playing with him because he was like, any car you want. So I'm like, oh, Corvette, Mustang, like, what are we talking? And then it ended up morphing back into like, no, think smaller. You're going to be 16. We don't want you to have accidents and whatnot.
Right.
So I originally thought I kind of wanted a Jeep, like maybe a 2004 Jeep Liberty type.
Yeah.
But then I kind of went from there to a more modern Jeep Wrangler Sport. And so that's
So you were going online looking for this?
Yeah.
Did you originally go online looking for that specific vehicle, or did you do some like window shopping?
I had more of a window shopping. I just kind of typed in like Jeeps or like, different kinds of brands, and then just hit images on Google and just like went through. And
so I'm going to stress this to this camera. You went to Google.
Yes.
Is that originally where you started your shopping process, right?
Yes.
He went to Google. He's 15 years old, right? So what we're doing is dealers are watching this, and they are taking down this information because you are the future of car buying, right? Your generation, the Generation Z, and nobody understands your generation. The reason I say that is you're the first digital native. So you know what that means?
Not really.
So I'm a Gen Xer. I'm 43 years old. I'm a television native, which means when I was born, televisions were already out.
Gotcha.
The generations before me, they grew up without televisions. So they weren't native to televisions. So my entire life, I've always known of television, right? And advertising and all that. You're a digital native, which means when you were born, cell phones were already smartphone, the phones, tablets, laptops and all that. That made you a digital native. You've never known a life without this, right?
Yeah.
So what we get down to is how are you going to buy a car? And since you're a digital native, how do you get to that process? We're finding out the first thing you did as 15 years old is you went to Google.
Yeah, just Google Images, typed in a brand that I thought I might want as a 16-year-old because I'm looking for relatively safe but also kind of fun cars.
Yeah.
So then I just go through. I'm like, oh, this one looks cool.
But you went to Images.
Yeah, I went to Google Images.
You didn't go to the.
No.
So that's another big point. You're throwing like these nuggets out there that you don't realize are nuggets, but they are. So you went to Google, you typed in the Jeep, you typed in you want, but you didn't even give a crud about first page SERP on links. You went straight to Images to look at the vehicles.
Yeah.
So if we have car dealers out there that aren't optimizing their images on their website, they're missing out.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
All right, so next step, and I'm sorry to keep slowing you down because you're throwing out stuff that people are wanting to know. So you go to Images, you're looking through the images on the Google site, right? You click on one that stands out for you?
Yeah, so I'll just go through and I'll find something and I'll be like, oh, that looks interesting. So then I'll click the link that's associated with the image.
What captured your interest in when you saw something, you clicked on it?
Well, I personally like the Jeep, so I was looking for like kind of a retro old like box kind of Jeep.
Yeah.
And so I saw one, I'm like, oh, this looks kind of interesting. So then I clicked the link and it gave me all the specs, like horsepower, what kind of tires, what kind of
Was
tread.
horsepower and all that something that interests you, or was it more cosmetic of what the Jeep looked like?
Bit of both, more of outside, but more of also like what kind of features does it have? Like, does it have navigation? Does it have, what kind of stereo does it have? That kind of stuff.
It's interesting that matches up with what you're saying now, that what the trends are saying for Generation Z was safety a factor at all in your search?
A little, yeah.
Because they're saying that Gen Z does not give a crap about safety,
I
right?
mean,
it's all about it's all about economical, and it's all about horsepower and that. But millennials, the ones before you, apparently they were really hardcore about safety.
Yeah.
So it was a small factor in your choice, right?
Yeah. I mean, it was definitely there because I want to make sure as I'm driving a vehicle, learning how to drive a vehicle, whatever, I am safe driving said vehicle. Okay.
So once you find that Jeep, you find what you're looking at. You had a couple different options that you were looking at. Did you save those anyway, or do you bookmark them? Or?
Since it's Google Images, I can just drag it down from my laptop into my photos album. So I just have a list of all the different pictures of the cars. And I'll go back and I'll go talk to like my dad or my brother or whoever who's currently driving. And I can just go show him like, oh, I'm thinking about this. What are you thinking? It's like, it makes sense, but there's some things lacking. Try to find something that has this because for safety or for cosmetics.
They just kind of oversaw what you picked out, and then they added extra, like maybe questions you should be asking yourself. So you pick out, you get the vehicle, and then you find out where it's at.
Yeah.
Did you have any idea where this vehicle was at when you did it? Like, did you even know that you were on Auto Trader or Cars.com or anything like that, or was it any clue?
Not really.
No, you're just looking for the vehicle.
Yeah.
So what we're finding out, I'm gonna stress this again, Mark. Google Images. You went, you looked it up. You didn't go to you went to Images, and that's how you did it. So now it's time to buy the car. Did you have anything to do with buying the car, or did Dad just make the deal? And
it was more of just my dad, because I was actually over at a charity event, because I have type 1 diabetes, so I go to these charity events and help work at them. And
your father and I have had a conversation about you before. Yeah, absolutely.
So I was there working, and then he surprised me a little bit later, but as I was at this event, he went and bought the car, looked at it with my mom, because he knew which one I liked and which one I picked out. And I've been learning how to drive because I'm getting to that phase where I want to be getting my license soon.
Yeah.
And I was driving originally my dad's car just because we were doing like lessons around, and I was kind of telling him it's a little hard to drive because he drives this big Land Rover, and it's sometimes like hard to brake, things like that. And he was like, "Oh, let's try to find something else better for you, like maybe Mom's car or something." And so we went around. There's this storage crate. I'm like, "Oh, that's weird. What is this here?" And it was said Jeep, and then I had to drive that around. And it was really fun.
So you got it. You have it now. You're waiting to get your full license to do it. Where do you think you're going to be using that car mostly? Just to and from school? You have a job that you're going to get into, or?
Probably mostly just to and from school, because that's where I am at right now. I don't have a work license yet for my school.
Yeah.
So I can't do really any jobs yet. So.
Other kids at your school, You gonna help them buy cars or what? You gonna be a broker?
Maybe.
Maybe. No, it's really great, Matt. It's really amazing to get the information straight from the horse's mouth. No offense, you're not a horse, but that's just. I have a 12-year-old in my life, and what I love about him is that, and tell me if this fits in your world too. He can sit there and play Xbox One with his headset on, playing Call of Duty with Chris and also with Brock. Do you do that?
Yeah.
Yeah. And at the same time, he's got his Samsung tablet with a video from YouTube that somebody else is playing the same game. Right? And they recorded themselves, so he's watching that to know like the tips and tricks like around the corners. At the same time, he's got his phone over here that he doesn't want Brock to know about what he's saying to Christopher, so he's typing to Christopher while he. Does that sound familiar?
Yeah.
So multi-platform, and at the same time, you probably are multitasking better than anybody. Do you agree?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is anything with the technology, and I'll wrap this up, I know you guys got to get going, but does technology have anything to play, do you think, when it comes to picking out your next car?
I would think so, because even things like with the Jeep that I just got, it doesn't have things like navigation, like just little things like that I know I'll probably be using, or getting a third-party navigation to put in there.
Like your phone?
Probably, or like a CarPlay, even though I don't know.
Would you want it in your car, or would you want it on your phone?
I would say probably in my car.
In the car.
Because I don't want to be like using data and things like that on my phone.
Yeah.
But I feel like technology in the car is definitely a big role that needs to be filled more, because like, yeah, you have your basic things like your music and your navigation, but there should be like extra things too, like how they have the CarPlay now.
Right.
Where it just mirrors off your phone, so you can have different things on
Yeah.
it. Or even like, I know with Amazon's Alexa, they're getting really into like, with the TV and such.
Yeah.
They had something like that built in, like an AI that was.
As a 15-year-old, does that scare you? Does Alexa and those Google Home type things, do they scare you about taking data away from, or recording and all that? Is that something that you and your peers, your friends, do you guys think about that at all?
I mean, some of my friends do. I don't worry about it too much, just because I'm super into like technology and building like computers and stuff. So I know how things like that are built, so I know like how it's pieced together.
Yeah.
So just thinking about that kind of takes that away from it for me. So.
And how long do you think until you're going to go look at a different car? You think you're going to have this Jeep for a while?
Probably until a little bit after college.
Yeah, there's no more Eagle above Eagle. Are you order Aero?
No, not yet.
You can get an OA. Maybe Dad will get you a motorcycle. Yeah?
Yeah.
Let me play. So let's just rehash real quick on the nuggets you dropped. 1, you went to Google.
Yep.
2, you used Google Images and not clicking on a dealership and going through their inventory and looking that way.
Yeah.
3, you did not go to AutoTrader. You did not go to Cars.com. You did not go to any of those sites. You went straight Google Images. You pulled them off. You created your own basic, your own inventory that you wanted to look at. You narrowed that down. You gave those to your dad and your brother to kind of look at.
Yep.
They did a look over to make sure you didn't miss anything, and they gave you some feedback on what you should have looked for.
Yep.
And then you picked out the vehicle. Dad went, and it was delivered, right?
Yep.
You like technology in the vehicles. You safety is a factor, but it's not a huge factor. Right?
Yeah.
And I don't mean to put you on the spot.
No,
I mean,
it's
you ask
fine.
somebody if safety is a factor in a vehicle, they want to say yes, of course.
Yeah.
But so all of that's really great information that we're getting from Generation Z. I'm going to use your information for my session in a couple weeks, if you don't mind, because that really, I mean, dude, you're giving me, I mean, it's like an exclusive.
Yeah.
So this is Matt. He does not work in automotive. His dad used to. And you're here at NADA. And I'm sure your dad has some friends and some companies he's visiting and stuff. So it was really awesome to meet you, man. It was really good. My last question to ask you is, what was the thing is, are you, when it comes to social media, are you a social media user?
Yeah.
What is your number one platform do you think you're on mostly?
Probably Snapchat or Instagram.
Snapchat.
Just because I'm not big into social media, but I use it to kind of keep tabs on my friends and such.
Gotcha.
So like with Snapchat, I'm not constantly posting,
Are you a lurker? That's what we call the people that just kind of look at everybody else's stuff? Yeah.
So I'll either do that, or I'll use it to text people. Like I know if, say, like my friend's phone is broken and they can't text, but they have an iPad, I can text them through that with Snapchat.
That's cool to know this.
So.
Instagram is the other one. That's your number 2 probably, or are those kind of tied?
Probably my number 2, yeah.
What's Facebook in your list?
Probably number 3. I use I use Facebook a lot,
Perfect.
but just because I have like some older family friends and uncles and stuff that want to keep tabs on me.
Yeah, absolutely.
So.
And is it difficult being 15 years old? Do you kind of keep it your circles kind of small? Or do you reach out and connect with different gamers or different people that build computers around that are influencers?
More on Instagram.
Yeah.
I use that for, because like I also like build props for like costume stuff. It's just one of my hobbies.
Yeah.
And I'll like
Stagecraft.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like
we have a lot in common. I'm just letting you know this. Yeah.
So like I just built this Iron Man gauntlet because I have a 3D printer, so I 3D printed all the parts for it. And I'll go like find someone who's done some cosplay or someone I've already talked to about it, and I'll say, hey, does this look good? What should I use to paint it? Like, what should I use to glue it?
So you get influence, you ask questions, and it comes back. This is really good stuff. Matt, we want to hook you up with some T-shirts from Modern Dealership Magazine. If you want, please follow us on Instagram. We'll follow you back, and I don't know if we'll give you, if you want to learn how to hold gross on a car deal, we'll teach you how to do that. But anyway, do you know Bob Tasca? Have you met him yet?
Don't. No.
We'll make sure we're going to get you one of these Auto Alert, Ford Alert jerseys out to you in Southern California, if you don't mind.
Cool.
Would you like one of those?
Yeah, sure.
All right, cool. Yeah, we'll get one of those out. Mark, thanks a lot. We're going to have Glenn Posh coming up next. This is some really good information about Generation Z. You should be using it today in what you're doing in marketing. So Matt, once again, thanks again. Congratulations on your Eagle Scout. Let's work on the OA, right? Enjoy a little. We got Glenn Posh coming up next live at NADA 2018.